Okay, let's have a look at the first proof on homework 10. Now, I told you there were two basic approaches to doing proofs. There's the stumble forward blindly, and then there's the work backwards from the conclusion. Well, let's look at the conclusion to begin with. The conclusion is E. Now, as you can see, E shows up here. So, obviously one way to get E would be if we did disjunctive syllogism. Now, in order to do disjunctive syllogism, we'd need this with a negation in front of that. So that would be one way to go about it. Now, having looked at that, we might try now the stumbling forward blindly method. So let's look at the premises and see if there's something obvious that we can do. Oh, my hand looks horrible on the camera. One thing we can do immediately involves line 3. Think about what you can do with line 3 to make it into something that you can simplify, and think about what that would give you. And one thing it would give you will allow you to do a syllogism involving line 1. Another thing that you can also do, and that you should do fairly immediately, is biconditional with this one, because biconditional with this one will turn it also into something useful, and then something that you can use with another thing that you're going to get from this line. I think that's enough clues on question 1 to be going along with. But one thing about question 1 is you don't need to do conditional proof. Conditional proof won't help. And we're going to pretend that you don't know how to do reductio ad absurdum yet, because you might not. Okay, question 2 while we're here. Now this one, conditional proof will help with. So if you're going to do conditional proof, you would start by assuming the antecedent of the conclusion. So you would indent and assume P and write S, as we like to do. And then look at line 1 and you will see an immediate thing that you can do with that P now that you have it. That will give you this, and then you need to look at where Q and R show up. They show up here. You need to think, what can you do involving the consequent of a conditional? Well, maybe the negation of a consequent, and you need to think about what that is equivalent to by my favorite rule of implication. And then that should set up a sort of chain of events that's going to end you up, because remember, you on your last indented line, let's say line 20, you want to have Z, because then you can say on line 21, if P then Z by conditional proof 5 through 20, let's say, and you'll have the conclusion. Alright, that should do it for the first two questions. Let's pause there.